It's Friday. It's Mark Pyers. It's real talk.
I was walking down the road today, looking for another way
to ease my mind
and help my living.
It's real talk. It's the daily vlog, Mark Pyers Real Talk. I'm here to help you make smarter moves, to amplify your current state, and I'm here with you on Friday, day 326 in a row of the Mark Pyers Real Talk Show. And I've got a real estate topic for you, and I got some news for you. Got a lot of stuff planned for today. Kind of excited to be on the air with you, like I am every day, I guess. And this is not just a one-time thing today. Everybody who's been watching me for the last 326 days knows that every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is music night on the Beat Seat, my invention. And I'll segue into last night's panel. Last night we went down to Stage 2 Startups panel in Coscob, Greenwich, Connecticut. And it was a really great experience to sit up on stage. Not really a stage, but we were in a nice room. For other entrepreneurs and myself, we had an opportunity to speak to a crowd of Columbia graduates, also just people who are interested in entrepreneurship. And it was a great opportunity for me to get in front of people. I haven't done that in a while. I've been doing this here with you guys for 326, but not in front of a crowd really in a pretty long while. So that was cool. And that's live still on Instagram for the rest of the day. And then it will probably disappear by about 9 o'clock tonight. So, lots of fun there. I wanted to talk to you guys about this topic I got from, it was actually a client who sent me a question, and I thought it would be pretty good to talk about this one. So the question is this. I saw 2 properties I like, and should I call a contractor in to see them before I put in an offer? Now, I think that's a tricky question, and I'll tell you the reason. In general, it depends on when it hits the market. If that's a new property that hits the market, I would say no. You don't want to waste any time. You know, one of the benefits of working with me is that I can give you an idea of what's wrong with the place before we even put in an offer, when we walk through it in real time. However, if you're not in that position, you don't have a realtor who has a construction background who can provide any value in that sense, then you should have somebody on speed dial. The problem with that is contractors are busy. It's hard to get somebody on short notice. Hey, I saw this great house. Can you pop over? No, I'm building a house. I'm with a client right now. I'm renovating. I'm actually pulling windows. I'm framing. You know, there's a million things that they could be doing, but they're not sitting around waiting for your call. So, the bottom line is this. You have 7 days to inspect a property, to do your due diligence. Those 7 days include inspections, going to town hall, taking a look at the file, see what's going on, if there's any wetlands concerns you may have. Are there any permits that maybe weren't closed? You know, that's something your attorney's going to get figured out during a title search anyhow. But the upfront searching you want to do is you want to make sure there's nothing. I just missed the Zabrowski scream. You want to make sure that there's no specific red flags. And that's a good search at town hall that you could do with your agent. Your agent can pull some information for you. But in general, that 7 days is valuable. That 7 days you can go and search. You can explore up and down. You can look all around and try to figure out if there's a reason to walk. I think that consumers, and correct me if I'm wrong, they believe when they put their offer in that their money is at stake. I put my offer in, that money's at stake. I don't want to put that offer in because I don't want to lose that money. Your money is safe. I don't know how the rest of the country works, but I'll tell you how Connecticut works. In Connecticut, we write an offer, you write a check, and you basically take a photo of that check and send it to me. We send that photo over so the seller can see that, I don't know, that you're grown up enough to have a checkbook, I guess, but that money goes nowhere. That money stays in your account until your 7 days go by, until you've done your research, until you determine that you do want to move forward. And when that happens, you sit down with your attorney, you sign contracts, and then your money is sort of at stake. The reason it's not fully at stake, it depends on your deal, but typically buyers will have a mortgage contingency. Yeah, that inspection contingency is now lapsed, but you still have a mortgage contingency. Now that's an extremely powerful contingency for you to have. Let me explain why. You have 30 to 45 days for that mortgage to come through. Same thing in the process. If there's anything else that goes wrong, that mortgage isn't going to come through. You know, say there's a septic issue, there's a title defect, and you decide you don't want to move forward. You have the protection of a mortgage contingency where your money is safe. So in general, as a buyer, you have a lot more protection than a seller. Sellers are hoping you follow through. They're hoping that you purchase that home. So you will find mostly once you get to a deal, the seller is going to be very willing to do what they can to keep you on track. They don't want you to fall through. It's a difficult thing when you lose market time. You've accepted a deal, and now that time, you literally every day that you're off market, you're off of every buyer's mind. And there could be a really, really interested buyer who said, man, that property, I wish I got to it. Somebody else got to it, but I wish I got to it. Well, I guess I'll go buy something else. That could have been your buyer. Now you lost the deal. You lost that great buyer who was going to be your buyer, and you're back to square one. So sellers are very much willing and wanting for things to go well once they get a deal together. And I think you should keep that in mind. You as a buyer, you have a lot of power, and the power is in your ability to follow through or not. Your ability to research before actually taking any money out and putting it on the table. I have another question I'm curious about. I wanted to see if anybody can give me some responses back, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Instagram, you're on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook. Let me know about this. In general, when you're a buyer, do you feel that it's important to get your offer out there or do your research first? And this goes along with that question of having a builder look at it before putting in an offer. What do you think about this? I find that anyone in finance specifically is used to doing their research up front. They research the heck out of anything they're going to do. They just want to make sure they're not putting their money at the same thing, putting their money at stake. The real estate's the complete opposite. You're working in reverse. You put your offer out there without knowing the answers to all the questions that you have. You get that deal accepted, and then that's when you go to work. That's when you research. I've seen too many people do all the research because they want to make sure they're not doing the wrong thing, and then somebody swoops in there and they get that house before they have a chance to breathe. Well, they had a lot of time to breathe. They just took a long breath. You can't do that. When you see something, you got to act on it, get that deal, and then do your research. Remember, once you have it secured, then you can research the heck out of it. You can determine whether or not you really want to follow through on that transaction. But you can't figure it out up front. I mean, it depends. Especially in a hot market, you definitely can't do it up front. You got to try to get a yes. You're looking for the yes, and then you'll do the work on the research. I try to tell my buyers that when they ask, oh, should I do this? Well, you could, but I'd suggest you get that offer in. You want to beat Susie and Tom to the table. Get that deal, and then let's figure out whether or not you really want that house. Wait, what do you mean? Why would we do that? Well, just think about that. Every second you don't have a yes from them, it gives somebody else an opportunity to get that house from you. You want to take it from the market. I always take that house from the market, make it yours, and then determine whether or not you really want to make it yours. So that's my little bit here on real estate for the day. I'm going to quickly check something here. It looks like I'm live on Facebook, but I've been having a question every day. I don't know if I'm live on Twitch at all. It doesn't seem like it. Oh, wait, it could be. Let's just see real quick. It looks like, yes, I am live on Twitch right now. Nice. Now, the question is, I don't know why it's not saving when I'm live on Twitch, but I am live on Twitch right now. So if you happen to be on Twitch, I'm live on like 8 social media platforms at once. I got to tell you, it's the coolest thing in the world. I just want to get some more interacting, and I don't know if there is anything going on. There's a chat window here, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't work because my buddy Michael has been sending notes on Facebook every day, and I don't see them while I'm live. So let's get back over here, see if anybody has anything for me. I think I may have to work out a text. Work out a text message where you could send me a message in real time if you want me to get into a topic. And so, listen, I want to just share a couple things. Of course, as you know, tonight, music night, 10:30 here on YouTube, Facebook, all of the other social media channels. Twitch, if you're watching me on Twitch right now, I'll be back tonight at 10:30. And it's real talk, but it's real talk with music. Now, I'll give you a little idea of what that means. Throw something on here. So, I'm a singer-songwriter. Before I started doing this, before I got into real estate, I was an MTV music artist. I traveled the country. I wrote 120 songs before I retired from music in 2008. Now, here's the thing. I put the guitar down in 2008, but I still sort of played. And then in 2011-ish, I invented the first drum in the world for guitar players. It's called the beat seat. It's also the first drum in the world you could play with your hands and feet at the same time while sitting completely upright. Now, the reason that's a big deal is because my only competition is this drum called the cajon. Now, my drum is a cajon, but it's a cajon on steroids, okay? The cajon, you have to bend over to access. It's going to hurt your back. It hurts my back when I just think about it. With the beat seat, the reason you're able to do this is because I designed it for me to play my guitar completely perfect. I designed it to be the perfect seat for a solo artist. So whether you're a guitar player, you're a piano player, you play steel drums, trumpet, saxophone, you need a beat seat because you could do stuff like this. This is me last weekend. You want to hear stuff like this? Tune in tonight. I mean, why would you not tune in at 10:30 tonight? I'm going to be looping. I'm going to be improvising just like that. So every weekend we improvise a song. We call it Mark Inspires, and that's the segment of that show. Each night on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I improvise a song, at least one. Now, for the first 200 plus days, I was improvising full songs, vocals, guitar, chords, lyrics, the lyrics. Now, I'm just going to give you a little side note. You should head over and subscribe to my podcast. It's available on every single podcast channel, network, whatever you want to call it. Free of charge. No charge. While you drive, you should be tuning in to some real talk. And what you could get is one of the episodes is called Beat Seat Improvisation Tapes. And what you got there is 8 songs I improvised in real time. Full improvs. And you'll be like, no, these are written. No, they're not. All full. Like, I'm talking to people in them. There's one of them I have recently. I was actually talking to the Facebook for like 5 minutes. I got to find that one and drop it. But I'll tell you, when you let the spirit of life come through you, you could do anything. You could create anything in the moment. And my best works of art are the ones that I create in the moment, not the ones that I sit there and I finesse. I could sit there and I could write. You want me to write something? I could write you something. But I prefer to let things come out of me in the moment. That's where the magic is, guys. The magic is the moment. Problem is, everybody else is trying to fabricate the moment by sitting there and, ooh, let me take out that quill and make sure that I make it sound so poetic. No, let life make it poetic. So I'll be here tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, for some real talk / music. And like I said, if you haven't seen that yet, it's a pretty cool thing. We get the loop station going. And you know what's cool is I have the ability now to show you guys video on here. I wonder if I should get that in here for tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow as well during the day. I mean, guys, with the new studio set up here, like I said, sorry, Facebook, if you guys have a problem with it, just don't tune in. But I'll be live twice on the weekends during the day from the studio, and then for Real Talk Music Night on the Beat Seat. Guys, this is day 326 in a row. I've been live every day like this since December 31st. I don't have a script. I got a couple of ideas. Like today, I was like, let's give some buyer tips. I got this buyer who said, what do I do? Do I call a contractor in? Now, let me get back a little bit about that. So if this property's been sitting on the market for like a year, yeah, you know what? We can call a contractor in. You want to actually call somebody else who's doing it day to day to get some more input? Sure, you could do that. It's been sitting there for a year. I'm not as concerned. But that first 10 to 15 days, you see something amazing, and you're questioning whether or not the roof or this, or the windows, just get the deal. Just get the deal. We'll get someone in there to look at it. You just want that yes first. Make sure you have a reason to inspect. Why do any research if you're not going to get the house? See a lot of people spending all that time and they don't even get the house. So keep that in mind, guys. So remember tonight, remember the podcast, and you could check out the latest was the interview I had with the Stage 2 Startups ladies. They did a great job here on Real Talk, and we dropped the whole thing. So now it's time for some news. What do you guys say? You want some news here? This is my little news setup. Check this out. So what do we got for today? This is kind of cool, guys. Tesla CyberTruck debuts, and we can't believe our eyes. Now, this is a double-edged sword story because the CyberTruck looks like a DeLorean. I mean, it's like a futuristic DeLorean. Boxy, and can you see it here on the right? I'm not sure if you can get a good look at that. But there it is. Here's the crazy thing. Ranges 500 plus miles, 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. Is that serious? And I don't really know what the towing capacity, if that's like a big deal or not, but that's crazy, 500 plus miles. Like the price tag is apparently $36,000. 500 plus miles. I would do that. I do 200 plus miles a day. That's why the electric vehicles always scared me. But so check this out. It also apparently has, everything's supposed to be state of the art. And it's also supposed to stop any sort of, let me see where this is. Oh, here we go. Okay. So Tesla accidentally busted 2 windows on the Cybertruck while demonstrating how tough they are. Well, they're apparently supposed to be like indestructible. And it's a $39,900 Cybertruck, which is actually a really affordable price if you think about it for Tesla. And it's a truck. Look at this guy. Holy cow. I got to put this on the main screen. Let's see if we can get you back. Oops. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Look at everybody's got their cameras over here. And they're like, ooh, let's see the Tesla armor glass. Let's see how indestructible. Up, boop. Yeah. I don't think that was supposed to happen. The crazy thing is, check out Elon Musk's face. Hold on, can you see that? Hold on. I gotta. Oh my goodness. I don't think that was supposed to happen. No, it wasn't, Elon. It was not supposed to happen at all. Oh my goodness. Can you believe that? I can. I can believe it. Let me get you back to the story. So basically, it's going to be cool. He followed up with a little joke. He said, oh, I guess we'll fix that in post. And then apparently they pulled this video right from their they pulled this from their website immediately after the broadcast went out because that did not look good. Look at that again. One more time. Can you see that? Oh, hold on. Let me give you a look. Unbelievable. It just makes me laugh, guys. Makes me laugh. So let's move on to the next story. What do we have over here? This is just a health story I wanted to share with you guys. This is something, if you know anybody who's dealing with Lyme's disease, this could be something to look into. Father bedbound by Lyme disease is back on his feet due to a drug for alcoholism. This is interesting. A father who was bedbound by Lyme disease is finally back on his feet due to a drug for alcoholism. Kieran? I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but Karen Hughes, 31, developed constant pain, labored movement, and the loss of balance in March while working in Indonesia. Multiple tests both abroad and in his native Northern Ireland came back clear, including one for Lyme disease. Desperate Mr. Hughes sought private treatment. Although this led to his diagnosis, the prescribed antibiotics failed to ease his symptoms. So basically what he did is he took the matters into his own hands. He found a doctor in the U.S. who treats patients with an alcohol dependency drug, disulfiram. So I'm going to see if anybody wants to know more about this, shoot me a note. Disulfiram. Disulfiram. I just gave it to you. Check it out. I don't know if that'll help or if you're dealing with it, this could be something. This is a gentleman who was bedridden and now he's back on his feet. He's working again. He worked in a I think they said he worked in some sort of shop, some warehouse, and now he's back at it. So just a good story about something that is being used for a different illness is being used for Lyme disease. So check that out. Where are we? Let's go to the next one. This is something I just wanted to talk to you guys about. I remember this girl. She was such a talent. Does anybody remember her? I totally remember her. She was an absolute talent. And her name was Antonella Barba, sentenced to 45 months in federal prison in a drug case. Now, here's the byline. One-time American Idol hopeful Antonella Barba has been sentenced to 45 months in federal prison in her drug case. Apparently she was carrying large amounts of fentanyl. And fentanyl, you may recall, is the drug that killed Prince. It killed the Kennedy girl just recently. And it's killed a lot of people. It's a horrible drug. I don't know how she got involved in this, but I remember her as such a talent. Her voice was so good. She should have won. Did she win? No, she didn't win. She got knocked off. I remember that. That was one of the only years I only watched American Idol for like 1 or 2 years. It used to bother me. It used to bother me to watch a show where people were singing and that is a thing and then you're going to just celebrate them for singing. Like, how about the people that are singing and playing an instrument? Those are the people you should be celebrating. Do you know how hard it is to sing and play an instrument at the same time? No, let's celebrate the singer. Anybody can sing. Look, we all have a voice. Some of us sing in key, some of us don't, but we all can sing. Some of us have nicer voices than others. Yes, that's true. It doesn't take as much talent as it does to have an instrument in your hand and sing at the same time and be creative with both. Or let me take it one step further. Sitting on a beat seat, being creative with that, being creative with the guitar, and being creative vocally all at the same time. That is talent. That is what we all should be striving for. The musicians I like to watch are the ones that are doing something. They're creating in the moment. I'm watching that guitar while he's singing and I'm like, how is he doing that? How is he doing all that? How is he creating a full band sound all by himself? Well, because I worked at it, sir. Because I worked at it. Because everything good in life takes time and effort. And if you're willing to put it in, you could do things that others can only dream of doing. Question is, are you interested in putting yourself out there, making that happen? You know, I am always willing to do what it takes in order to show what I can do. And also to prove that I can do things. I don't know what I can do until I go after it. This is something I shared yesterday with the group as we were discussing. Oh, I got some people on here. Bulldog, my man. Let me see. Okay, he's got a question for me. I'm going to get into it. Bulldog 19, my man. I love it. I got a new follower on Twitch. Guys, I just got on Twitch, so I don't even know how it works. But Bulldog19 is now a follower. I love it, Bulldog. You're the man. Let me get to your question. So let's skip on because, look, I could talk to you about positivity and motivation all day. I do that. But when we get questions, this is the whole point of this show. The show is for us to communicate together, and it's to take it to a whole new level. So my man asked, what's your favorite Disney movie? That's a good question. What is my favorite Disney movie? You know, the thing about Disney movies who pegged this for me, is that they all start with like there's like a sad story at the beginning. Is Disney Nemo? I'm thinking about like Nemo for some reason. How Nemo is like, is it the mom that dies or something? Like there's always someone that dies at the beginning of a movie like that. I may be thinking of like a different company. You have to let me know, Mr. Twitch, my man. But, and here's the thing I'll share with you. As far as it goes, I have really not watched a tremendous amount of television, especially in the last year. I've watched none, but prior to that, I used to watch a fair amount, but it wasn't movies. You know, I usually would find myself watching, you know, like The Curse of Oak Island is back on. I don't know if you guys watch that. The Lion King is his favorite. You know what, buddy? That's a great movie. The Lion King is a great movie. Same thing, Simba, right? And then there's always like a sadness, and then it's the triumph at the end. And that's what makes a good movie, actually, is I always said the perfect movie would have every emotion. It's almost like a Shakespeare play. Every Shakespeare play has every single emotion in it. And that's what makes it amazing. That's what makes it Shakespeare. You feel it all. You feel the ups, the downs, the all-arounds. And that's what a good Disney movie does, too. I feel like they stole the script from Shakespeare. It's like, but what did he do right? Well, he touched on every emotion where people would sit there for 3 hours and they'd feel it all. How do we do that in a movie? You know, it's funny. I remember watching the movie. What's the movie where they came out with two at the same time? It's always weird how this happens. Armageddon. Do you guys remember Armageddon? That's the first time I remember seeing Owen Wilson. It's the first time I saw Owen Wilson. He's in this movie and he's talking so funny. I'm like, who is this guy? I was like, it's Owen Wilson. But I loved Owen Wilson's part in that movie. He was fantastic. And Steve Buscemi, Bruce Willis, obviously. But what was great about that movie, people gave it a hard time. I don't even know why, but there was that one and then the other asteroid movie that came out at the same time, Deep Impact, which was rubbish. But the one with Armageddon touched on every single emotion. If that's ever on again, watch it from the beginning and you'll see it touches every single emotion on the chart. And that's what makes it a good movie. And I haven't seen it in a long time, but that's what makes it a good movie for sure. So listen, I know I've been on for a while, but that's what this show does. We're long form, unscripted. We let the spirit of the universe speak. And if you don't do that, I'm sorry for you. Because we all should be doing that. So I'm going to get you back to a little news here. Let's see what we got. We had the Antonella story. That's a wrap. Now, this is something I really want to talk about because you know I love the science. Anything that has to do with science, outer space. I wish I was more interested when I was younger. I wasn't. I was not interested in science or history. I don't know why. When I was a kid, I guess I was exploring other things. You know, I wish I knew what an entrepreneur was when I was a kid, and I would have dialed in a lot earlier. You know, you don't dial in until you know what you have or what you are. Now it's like every day I'm creating. I think I told you guys about an idea my son gave to his class the other day. I'm like, you don't talk to people about my ideas. I got a lot of inventions I'm working on. I got to get the beat seed out there first. I can't focus on more than one at a time. Anyway. Were other humans the first victims of the sixth mass extinction? Now, what's the sixth? I didn't even see this part, but this is interesting, guys. 9 human species walked the earth 300,000 years ago. Now there's just one. I remember hearing about Neanderthals. I remember hearing about different species, but I didn't know there were 9 different species walking the earth at the same time. I thought that it was an evolution. We were taught that we evolved. We went from crawling and all the way up to Homo sapien. But now this new article is challenging that. And this theory this theory seems like it could be more correct than anything I've ever heard. So I'll give you the Cliff Notes. The Cliff Notes on this one. So there were 9 other human species walking the earth 300,000 years ago. The crazy thing about this is each part of this planet had a different species. So in Asia, they called them the Denisovans. Homo erectus were in Indonesia. Homo rhodensis were in Africa. And it goes on, okay? And then here's the craziest one, the mysterious red deer cave people in China. What? Red Deer Cave people. I want to know who that was. I'm going to click that button after we get through the story, see who they were. But anyway, given how quickly we're discovering new species, more are likely waiting to be found. So we've been discovering these new human species over recent years because of our new technology, which again, the tech is great, guys, but it depends on how we're using it. So here's the question. By 10,000 years ago, they were all gone. The disappearance of these other species resembles a mass extinction. But there's no obvious environmental catastrophe, volcanic eruptions, climate change, asteroid impact, or anything else driving it. Instead, the extinctions, the timing suggests that they were caused by the spread of a new species evolving 260,000 to 350,000 years ago in southern Africa called Homo sapiens. They think we wiped out everyone else. And I think it may be absolutely true. So the bottom line is that it was a mass extinction, and they believe that it was self-generated by Homo sapiens, by us, because of overpopulation. And this is just a scary thing. What happened was most of these species were inferior mentally, intelligence. They just didn't have the ability to keep up with Homo sapiens. They didn't have the ability to think and to reason and to also strategize. That's something that we were able to do. We were maybe the first, but they're thinking now that maybe let me see, where was this little part at the end here? Here it is, the ultimate weapon. Cave paintings, carvings, and musical instruments hint at something far more dangerous, a sophisticated capacity for abstract thought and communication. The ability to cooperate, plan, strategize, manipulate, and deceive may have been our ultimate weapon. Sound familiar? It's like life. So basically, they're saying the incompleteness of the fossil record makes it hard to test these ideas, but in Europe, the only place with a relatively complete archaeological record, fossils show that within a few thousand years of our arrival, Neanderthals vanished. Wow. Now, the other thing is they know that this is the case because they've checked traces of Neanderthal DNA in Eurasian people. They found the DNA of Denisovans in Australian people. And down the line, these species have been found in our DNA. And the reason is we mated with these other human species. So it finishes with a pretty interesting thing. I love the way they ended this. Listen to this. Today we look up at the stars and wonder if we're all alone in the universe. In fantasy and science fiction, we wonder, what it might be like to meet other intelligent species like us, but not us. It's profoundly sad to think that we once did, and now, because of it, they're gone. Whenever something's different, we have to try to just knock it out of the park, right? Can't coexist with something different than me. This still exists today. This is how people are. When they don't like something, they shun it. They put as much negativity towards it as possible. We killed off 8 human species, so we could be the only ones. And look, at some point, maybe 50 years, 1,000 years, whatever it is, something's going to find its way here and say, what are these ants doing here? Swipe. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. How are there 9 different species here? And that tells me that they were all different, completely different. 9 different alien species living here on this planet at the same time. And then the smartest of them all decided to wipe out the rest. Now they said, I remember them saying Neanderthals as a kid. They said Neanderthals were, dumb and they didn't have the ability to reason and think, logic. Well, apparently it took them several thousand years to win that war. They were smarter now. They're thinking they were a lot smarter than we think. Maybe closer to Homo sapiens than they really thought originally. And so close that many fell in love with each other. They mated. And today we still have that DNA in our human genome. but 9. Unbelievable. I want to thank Bulldog19 for joining me, 1992 for joining me over on Twitch. And I want to thank you guys all for joining me as well. Remember, I will be back this evening for some Real Talk Live, 10:30. It's funny, I'm flipping it now. I'm going to do Instagram at 10:15 for a few minutes. Just tell them to come follow me over on YouTube. And then the show will go. That's what we do. We let the show go. I hope you guys got something nice planned for the weekend. I do have an open house planned for Sunday. If you happen to be in Greenwich, Connecticut, and you want to check this amazing property out, shoot me a DM. It's 1,550. It has a pond right behind it. And I owe you guys a podcast. I told you I'd get one out. I got to work on it today. I'll get it out sometime today for you, okay? Just go and subscribe now. You got 37 to listen to for the meantime. Got to go in there and find a reason to listen to the next. Let's see. Anyway, I'll show you my new outro. I'll see you guys later on the next Real Talk. It's Mark Pyers. And it's Real Talk.